way to, yeah, we can wait. It's always a great way to be able to start the week and just keep the summer can be a little bit difficult. You've got to keep your business brain on. I think we come across people differently in the summer. Whether we're out at the beach or pickleball or whatever we're doing, just keep in mind your business. It's easy enough, particularly if you meet somebody in person, just go grab them for a cup of coffee or something. So we played a lot of pickleball this weekend. So we that's why I'm kind of relating to that. So, but I'm sure you all were out. The weather's been beautiful. I hear it's getting really hot up in the Northeast, but we're going to get into it. I know Bobby's got a really good training tonight that he's excited to share with you. I'm going to share a few housekeeping notes with you, and then we'll go ahead and get into that.
Even in that big show box by the electrical.
Got it. Okay. So anyway, this is the last night for all those coupons we were given. So if you haven't used your coupon, you had 3 consultants and 1 customer. You have till 12 midnight, which might actually East Coast be too, but let's just say 12 midnight to be on the cautious side. So you've still got a few hours to be able to share those with some people that maybe have sitting on the fence, haven't budged, particularly that rare one for a customer. We don't see too many of those. So, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Okay. And again, the other thing we have going on is this Club Fast Lane. This is a real mystery. Oh, wait, I got to go full screen. Wait a minute. Let me go. Sorry. Got to do that last step. So, this is a mystery. We don't know what this is going to mean. You have to have 400 SV in order to be in this. And I think, Deanna and Kenneth, I think Kenneth is on here. I'm not really sure. We're like 2 of the fastest ones right out of the gate, the 5th and the 6th or something. But we do have quite a few people that are in now. Catalina's group, I think, is really doing well with this as well. Bobby just let some of those in. So anyway, 400 points. We don't know what this means because they said we'll know July 12th. We won't know till July, or maybe July 1st. I don't know, but we won't know what this will mean until July. But from what I've heard from some of those on the FAB, and they've kind of hinted, and they probably know, but they're not sharing, that you definitely want to have the 400 points. So I wish I could tell you more. I don't really like the mystery. I'd like to know what I'm competing for. But if you don't have the 400 points, you can't even play whatever's going to go on in July. So anyway, this is Elena Pop and Dr. Rustamove. I'm sure I'm killing her name right there, but let's see. Let's go. Okay. And then we've got Kenneth, Angelina Kardash, and then Dee, who's on here as well, and Kenneth on here. And then also we have Bert Brinkman, we've got Dr. Grisia, and then, Bobby and I. So that's the people that are in the Club Fast Lane right now. Okay, so these are the ones that are registered. I can't stress this enough. If you don't plan, this whole business is about planning. If you're not thinking and focusing on having, 3 new people for the month, or being at an event, or whatever it is, attaining a goal, it's never going to happen. You have to physically be in motion, planning on being there. So it's not too early for October. October will come around in a heartbeat. So, if you've got teamies that haven't, gotten themselves registered or haven't gotten things in plan, don't have their hotel room, airfare, you better be checking it now because, otherwise it's going to turn around and go skyrocket if you wait till we get too close. You need to book that as well. Being at an event is just, I know it's time away from family. I know it's expensive, but we're always so glad we went. It's one of those things that we're like, oh, we got to pack, we got to go. It's time away from home. We're not sleeping in our bed, but it's always so worth it. Not only from the training they do in front of the room, the new products we get, just the feeling we get leaving from there. I don't know of a person that hasn't gone to events, and in Bobby and I think we've missed one in all the years, 32 years in business, and we missed one. And that was really because of 9/11, went to the airport and couldn't go. So, I mean, we even went in really early for some other event, some other global thing that was going on one time because we knew if we didn't get out, I think we were having a hurricane here or something. So if we didn't go in a couple days early, we weren't going to be able to go there. So important that you do make plans to be there. Okay, now we have our launch coming up, and I just wrote a few notes, and this is not the training. I'm just going to go through this fast, but again, you have to be in action. You have to be out there talking to people, getting your invites out. It's as simple as just a quick, if you remember last week's training, quick. We don't have a lot of time. We've got a lot of people to talk to. We're just busy, but I've got a new product. I got a new business. You just got to hear about, again, this is the important part. If I sent you an invite to a Zoom, would you join me? If not, no worries. We don't care. We don't care if they say yes or no. But again, if you don't get it out there that they know what business you're in fact, I was talking to someone, a newer consultant, he's in the car business. And he said, in his business too, if he didn't let people know that he was in the car business, they bought cars from other people, real estate people. If they didn't let people know they were in the real estate, there's never a real estate lady that I meet anywhere. It doesn't matter. Networking meeting, a pickleball, tennis, church, it doesn't matter. They always let you know they're in real estate. And that's the same thing to us. It's not a hard push. It's not a close, but we got to let them know what we're doing. Send them an invite. If you want to come, fine. If you don't, no worries. But it's my job to make sure you know that I am in the wellness business and this is what I do. And I've got a great Zoom I'd like to invite you to. It's super quick, 30 minutes, but you know what? If not, no worries. So, make sure that you're getting, particularly today, tonight, if it's early enough by you, great time. Sunday nights are a great time. People have limited activities on Sunday nights. Once you get past that Sunday afternoon, it's a good time to get people on the phone. Remind people 30 minutes before the call, tomorrow night. So it's at 8:30, at 8 o'clock, you want to have your list of people that are going to be on the Zoom, and you want to give them a reminder. We're starting in 30 minutes. Please be early. So 5-10 minutes is not too early to be on a Zoom, because sometimes you have to update your Zoom or things just don't go as planned. So, make sure that they're early to the call. And then also make sure, a lot of people aren't familiar. Maybe they think they know what Zoom is, but maybe they're getting on for the first time. If you're getting on your phone, you need to download the app. So that takes a little additional time. So if they're on their computer, that live link works. But if not, they've got an app that they're going to have to download. It's free. But again, it just takes extra time. And sometimes when people are new in business, we assume a lot, but it's our job to give them good direction. And that is part of the good direction. Be early. Make sure if you're using your phone, the app is downloaded. You've got the link. You know where the link is. So when you give this reminder, I do a text, and I will send out a live link so that they have to click it with the note that, I want them to be early, and if they're on their phone. We need to assume, and this is the critical part, we need to assume that everybody we invited that said yes is on that call. Whether you see their picture or not, whether they're using, it doesn't matter. It's the follow-up that sets everything in motion. Because even if they aren't on the Zoom, and you just assume, you call them up, what'd you love best about the Zoom? And they'll say, oh, I couldn't, the kids' bedtime, whatever excuse they're going to come up with. Oh, great, no worries. Here we go again, if I sent you the recording, would you watch it? We're always trying to get them to promise to do something. So then they'll say yes, and then it's just like you're starting all over again. Same thing with the follow-up, same thing with the reach outs. We do the same things again and again. So, that's just, after the Zoom, assume everybody is on that call. But I'm going to go ahead and stop this share. Where's my mouse now? Okay, there we go. And that was just a little on the launch. Again, the prep work on that is critical. The follow-up is critical. How big a business could you have if you don't do your proper follow-up? How important is it to people if you're not doing your follow-up and seeing, if it was a party, you'd follow up with people. Did you have a good time? Did you meet some great people? It's the same thing in our business. So back to you, Bobby. I'm excited to hear your training because I don't even know what it is.
Hey, good evening, everyone. And mine's going to be a little bit more about personal development here and applying it to the business. So let me let me go to the share on my screen and we'll get started. So, okay. So, it's funny. You've heard me say this before, but I'm definitely a thinker with this business. And, you know, I'm always evaluating, I'm always wondering what we can do better, and what are the obstacles that we come across, and what are the good things that come from the obstacles. And, you know, I was playing with AI earlier in the week and I was looking at different stuff, and, something came to my mind, and it was this: it was for things to change, you, I, you need to change. And, if you don't change, nothing changes. Everything is status quo. As a matter of fact, if we don't change, normally things just go backwards. Okay, that's been the norm for 32 years in this business. And I'm not just talking business, folks. I'm talking, this is life. Okay, I'm talking tonight in as it applies to our business, but for things to change, it starts with you, it starts with me. And I want to talk to you about that for a few minutes tonight and make a couple references or examples, I should say, to what I mean. So why change now? Okay, why? Let's say you've been in this business, what I guess we're like 15 years old now. Why change now? Okay, maybe you're here 7 years like we are. Maybe you're part of our team and it's 7 years or it's less. Maybe you're here 7 weeks. Maybe you're new. Okay, but why change now? So think about this. Everything, every single thing we can think of has changed. Okay, if you go back 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, if you just go back, people have changed, business has changed, technology has changed, communication has changed. Think about, I mean, there was a time, and our kids don't believe it, but when the phone was attached to the wall with a squir with a squirrely, round wire. I mean, they just can't believe it. There was a time when our cell phones, which are technically a pocket computer, that computer would take a full room of machines to do what something in our pocket now does. Okay, it's mind-boggling what's happened. So there's a lot of things out there. Old things have gone away, but new things have surfaced. Old tools have died. I think about in our old company. I mean, April and I, we did a lot of firsts. We were the first ones on Sirius XM radio. We were the first ones to do full page ads in Success Magazine. We were the first ones to use the medical journals, to get leads for doctors. We were the first ones to have a national fax campaign. Every one of those things that we did to do business has died. All right. They don't exist anymore. But you know what? New tools were born. Okay. Nothing is like it was before, especially from years and years ago. So what does that mean? Okay. Think about this for a second before I go to the next slide. The things we did in the past aren't there or don't work anymore. Okay. And there's new things out there. There's this thing called the internet that reaches 7 billion people. There's this thing called social media that reaches 3 or 4 billion people. There's this thing called cell phones that everyone's walking around with one in their pocket. Okay, there's all kinds of new tools, but are you using them? Because here's a constant that hasn't changed. In order to build this business, we still have to talk to people. See, that hasn't changed. Okay, we still have to let people, and April mentioned this, in talking about, our Zoom that's coming up tomorrow night. Think about this. We still have to tell people about our products. We still have to tell people about our business. We still have to offer solutions to challenges or problems that they're dealing with. But maybe the way we do it, we use a different tool. Okay, now, let me see if I get I want you to be honest, okay, with yourself. Are you satisfied with your business? Okay, this is a personal internal question that each one of us should be asking. Have you met your goals? You know, have you moved ahead with gathering customers? Have you been consistent with adding new consultants? Have you been moving through the ranks? You know, both ranks with customers. Have you gone from Onyx to Emeralds to Sapphire to Diamond? Okay. With consultants, are you moving through the ranks of SC1, SC2, SC3, MC1, MC2, MC3, EC1, all of that? But here's what I'd like you to really give some thought to. When is the last time, or have you recently checked the desire in your heart? Where's your heart at with your business? Do you still have a desire to help other people? That's the real question, okay? Do you still, because when you help other people get the things they need and want, you're taken care of, okay? The money chases you down if you make sure that other people are earning money, other people know how to gather customers, you know, when is the last time you fanned your own flame? You know, that flame in your belly, you know, it's kind of, a lot of times it's dormant. It's like a pilot light. It needs some lighter fluid shot on it. So I want you to do an internal evaluation because remember, for things to change, you need to change. And we all have the ability to do it. And honestly, it's just a decision in our heads that we do, you know, that we decide to do it. Let me ask you this. This one's painful for me. Okay. For me, this is really painful. Are you tired of watching others succeed and not you or your team? Does that bother anybody? It's not that I don't wish everybody well, and it's not that I don't want everyone to do well. I do. Okay. But when it's going on and my teammates aren't moving along the way, say, someone else's teammates are moving along, doesn't that bother you a little bit? You know, it bothers me. I just want to be better. Okay. I want to be better personally. I want to do more business personally. I want to help my team. I want to lead by example. Okay. So and you don't have to fess up to this. Like I said, this is an internal audit. Okay. It's not something that you have to go outward with, but those are where the changes come. It happens when you internally make a decision. And to me, honestly, the answer is easy. Change is in order. It's time. You know, believe it, we are 1 week away from being halfway through the year. Do you know 2025 is half over? So if you had New Year's resolutions, you know, if you're not on course or ahead, isn't it time to make a change? Okay, but here's the key. It's not lip service. It's not doing another program. It's not watching another Zoom. It's not, you know, it's not doing any of that. It starts with you. You need to make the change, okay, so that the results can begin to happen. Now, how can I change? How can you change? How can I change? Okay, I mentioned this before. First thing, I think the most important thing is we need to check the desires of our hearts. Okay. And if that is not there, if that is not burning, okay, if it is changed, the light has gone out, you need to set a new goal. You need to find something. You need to recommit. Okay, and they need to be meaningful goals. And I don't mean gigantic goals. That's not what I'm saying. It's got to be something that'll move you. It's got to be something that'll make you do things. Listen to this, folks. It's got to have enough meaning that it will make you do things even if you don't feel like it, even if you're not in the mood. It's got to have enough meaning, okay, so that you will still do it anyway. Number two, we got to do the do. And what is the do? We can spend all day long watching videos. We can spend all day long doing other people's programs. We can spend all our free time doing unproductive, and I'm not against training or personal development or anything like that. That's not definitely not the case. We've done plenty of our own. But what I'm talking about is we need to be taking action in a meaningful way. What is that? Okay, two things. Don't always settle on what's easy and ask yourself, am I doing revenue producing activity? Is what I'm doing going to move my business forward, or is it just another excuse to say I spent some time doing something? Okay. And that is where change happens, folks. That is where it happens. Okay. You got to start giving some thought to don't settle on the easy, settle on taking action that is revenue producing. And here's an example. Okay. And this is just an example, but there's a lot of different ways to look at things. Number three, instead of just a post, on Facebook, let's say, instead of just a post, send a note, a personal note to somebody in Messenger. Okay. Befriend them. Okay. Find out about them. Get into a conversation about them. Nothing against posting. I think it's free advertising. You should always post, but that's the easy part. That's not revenue producing. That pacifies you, but it doesn't put money in your pocket. Okay. How about this? Instead of a spammy text, send a personalized text, individual with their name and personal greeting on it. Okay. That's better than just posting something. Send something that's personal. Or how about this? And as it goes down lower, it's more and more important and it's going to create more revenue. How about instead of texting, you call them? How about calling them up? Okay. Do you know? I mean, April and I have been doing advertising now, and obviously our phone skills have gotten very, very good because we deal with hundreds of people. Okay. Do you know what I hear the most from the people that I call that are cold market? They can't believe the people that they inquired about, that they asked about, that they answered, an ad or whatever it was we were doing, that we actually personally called them. They so appreciate getting a phone call instead of just something spammy, the automatic stuff, the robotic stuff, or the funnel stuff. Nothing against all of that, but they get very, very interested and it makes it real and it separates us from all the other stuff that's going on out there. There's a lot of different things that people could be looking at doing. But what's better than a phone call? Go get coffee or lunch. Meet them in person. Okay? You're always going to do better if you can meet a person, in person than a phone call. You're always going to do better with a phone call than a text. You're always going to do better with a personal message than just a post. See, those are changes, and we all get into bad habits, okay? But those are changes that could change things for you. So, what I said with number three, if you look at number four, just start in reverse. Okay, start by inviting somebody out for coffee or lunch. If they're not available, okay, then pick up the phone and call them. If they don't answer, okay, then you send a personal message and make sure there's always something on your wall, stories or reels. Okay. Those are some productive revenue producing things that you can do. Now, what's the goal? Okay. What's the mission? What are we trying to accomplish? Well, here's where you need some faith. Okay. Because the mission is to perfect your skill set. That's the mission. To get better at recruiting, at gathering like customers and mentoring. Okay. The whole goal here, the whole mission is to get better and perfect your skill set, to improve your skills and the ratio with how many prospects you need to speak to so that somebody will join you as either a customer or a consultant. Do you know what your ratio is? There's a good question. Do you know that if you spoke to 10 people, okay, maybe 5 of them wouldn't answer? Of the 5 that do answer, 3 say maybes, but 1 becomes a customer or a consultant. Do you know what your ratio is? Well, improving your skills, let me tell you what happens, okay? And if you haven't worked on this in a while, don't worry about it. You can start now. You can start tonight, okay? But here's what happens as your skills get better. It gets you, it makes you feel better. You feel better about what you do, and there's a confidence that comes with you knowing that you know what you know, okay? It gets you excited. Okay. And I mean naturally, sincerely excited. That gives you energy. And people sense it and they feel it, the energy. They know it's real. Okay. And there's no faking it. And those things, you feeling better, you getting excited, you having natural energy, that earns you money. Okay. You earn money because of that. And it also makes you a better sponsor and a better teammate. So the thing is, we need to change so we can get better. And when we get better, we experience all of these things. It becomes contagious. And when your teammates see you doing it, they do it. There's one thing that I can tell you in this industry: people don't listen to what you say, they watch what you do. That's why we always say do the do. People are watching, okay? They're watching all the time. So if you want to apply what I just spoke about, if you want to apply it right away, we have 24 hours between now and tomorrow night and with what April spoke about. Okay. But here's the change I'd like you to do. Commit to having, maybe for your first time ever, or maybe for the first time in a long time, commit to having multiple guests who attend and watch tomorrow night with you. They attend and watch it with you. We are all part of the Hollywood Squares. I'm telling you, even though we do record it and it is available shortly after, it's always better live and to be on in the squares than to not. So that is how you can begin, okay, to apply what I spoke about tonight right away and put it right to your benefit as early as tomorrow night. So, in closing, okay, for things to change, you need to change. And there's 2 ways to get better. Okay, there's 2 ways to do it. If you want your business to grow faster, more profitable, be more revenue producing, have better, have your teammates producing better, you can talk to more people and or you can sharpen your skills. Those are the only 2 ways, okay, that you can do better in this business. Share what you have with more people and get better at your pitch, your skills, especially your one-on-one and phone skills, okay? Practice makes you better. And if you want to go fast, I would do both. I would reach out to more people, and that will help you sharpen your skills. It happens simultaneously. So maybe you've done this already. Maybe it's been a long time, since you've done it, but there's something about change. And I can tell you, I remember the first time I met with Kenneth and we talked about doing some marketing stuff and how exciting it got for us when we had that conversation. I can remember it's only about a week ago. I got a phone call, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I got a phone call from Angie Saul, Allie and Angie. I have known Angie for probably 2 decades, not one, but probably two. Okay. I have never heard her more excited in my life than that half hour of her just going over something new and a change that she made. Okay. And it's none of my business to share what it is, but it was change. And change led to energy, change led to excitement, and that same change is going to lead to results. Okay. It's what happens. Okay. I remember when April hired her first coach. It's probably 5 years ago now, it was during COVID. It was weird for somebody our age to be hiring somebody half of our age to teach social media and some other things. It was weird. Okay. But man, I watch April and the things she does every day, and it all started because of that change and willingness to be coached, but not just be coached, to actually do what the coach was saying to do, not just lip service, but to put it into action. You know, I'm telling you, change is so healthy, but it's so necessary. And if times change, you and I need to change. So, one last thing I do want to mention, the virtual on July 12th. If you haven't registered, please register. But if you would like to attend in person in Florida, I'm going to be over with Kenneth and Cheryl and Steve and some other new folks in Florida. Jackie's coming too. But we're going to be over near Brandon Cunningham, over on the West Coast in the Tampa area for a live event, with live training. And of course, the corporate Zoom will be in the middle of it. You're welcome to come join us. So, anyway,
Bobby, Fred's doing it. Fred has an
well,
invite too.
let me stop the share and then he can share that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope you appreciated that. I hope you're willing to put some of that into action. And boy, just writing the slides out and thinking about it got me excited about it all over again. I got myself excited. So, hey, Fred, buddy, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that was a very good training, back to the basics, and it really, personal growth and what is you want and what do you. I remember Blue Elam at our called Pro 5 Summit then, but he was training. We were really blessed, and he just, what is it that you want? What are you willing to pay? And do it. Right. So pretty simple. What are you willing? And he actually added another step. What are you willing? What do you want? What do you, or the third thing was, let me get this right, is what are you not willing to do? Like not give up church or not give up, certain things. So now that you got the boundaries, just,
Well,
now do
I
it.
was talking to some prospects today, Fred, and they had asked to call on Sunday. I wouldn't normally have done that with someone I don't know, but they asked, and I said, and I was going over, I said it's anywhere from 250 to 999 to get started. I said, but that's not important. I said, you want to know what's important? I said, what's important is what you can lose if you don't do it.
Mm,
And I said, 32 years ago, April and I made a decision to get in this industry, and the buy-in back then was 5,000. And I didn't have it. My company was going out of business. I had to use multiple credit cards to do it. But had I not done it, it would have cost us $15 million in the 25 years that we were with that company. So
nice.
it's not what it costs to start. It's what you lose if you don't do it. And the same applies to the training tonight. If you don't do what I spoke about, in other words, change, make
Yes.
adjustments and change. It's not what you may be looking at now in your check. It's what you lose in the future because you weren't willing to do the do.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, you got something live going on, Fred, April mentioned?
Yeah, so on July 12th for the virtual, we're going to host an event at our farm as well, and have a picnic or a social after. So we're looking forward to that. And so I encourage everybody to get registered, even if you're going to an event like what Bobby's doing, or if you're going to someone
It's free.
else's.
It's free.
It,
Just get on the
and because
computer.
then you get the replays too. When you're
Yep.
registered, you get the
Yep.
replay of it, the corporate replay.
Yeah, if
And
for some reason you miss it and you're not registered, you don't get to see it.
yeah,
And, that's why
we can't on
everybody,
the Sunday night after the event, we can't explain what they covered. We can give a top water up.
right.
It's like going to convention or going to Dallas in October. We can show
You
the
can give
video
bullet
that
points. Right. You can
April
give
puts
bullet points.
together,
Yep.
but we can't get it from here to here. So same things. It's just I learned back in the beginning of my career, you don't miss an event, and just as what you guys said earlier, and we kind of maybe sounds a little hard for some people, but we say that because we care about you. We want your success, So
Well, we're all in the same boat where you don't know what you don't know.
mm,
And if you don't know how important the event is, you don't know.
that's right.
And that's why we put a little emphasis on doing it, because you may not know and you have to experience it so you do know in the future.
Yeah.
So,
And want to shout out to Rosemary. She just came on our team from Toronto. We enrolled her. So, hey, Rosemary, glad you're on the training tonight.
Welcome.
All right, thank
anyone
you.
else? Any questions? Anything new? Anything you want to share? Everybody good? So we're going to see everybody tomorrow night with multiple guests. Okay, not one, but multiple guests. That's, it's not a challenge, folks. It's all I'm saying is let's do something different. Let's change. And I'm telling you, when you get excited and you feel that energy, you never want to stop doing it. It's just adrenaline fix. You become like an adrenaline junkie, that's how it feels. So we will log in a few minutes early tomorrow night. It's 8:30 Eastern. It's the same link. You know the link. We do the same one. So anyway, have a great evening. We appreciate you joining us, and God bless. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, Bob and April.